Hey everybody, it's Chan Chai, and Virtua Fighter just had its best Evo by far. Evo 2025 is wrapping up, Evo Vegas, and Virtua Fighter had just an absolutely amazing weekend. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about it. So we're going to talk about it, but I guess I'm going to go ahead and play this trailer a few times. This teaser image of the training stage, and also some of the combat gameplay and what we can expect from it. I believe this is really early footage, but we're going to see a lot of great stuff. So let's go ahead and run it, and then we'll be chatting with people as they come into the room. Let me know if you guys can hear this pretty well. I think it's sounding pretty good. Let's see. Like I said, this is actually much more than I would expect for them to show, because they're actually showing gameplay, which is what people are asking for. While it's not showing as much art, it's still showing a lot, and I think this is pretty awesome. So honestly, I was very happy that we even got to see this, and that people that went to Evo got to really interact, right? This is really early in development, from my understanding. Like, not that it's early, but that there's still a ways to go. And so I'm not really expecting them to, show like a billion things. So earlier when people asked me what did I expect to see, I was like, well, hopefully some art stuff. I'm not actually expecting much, but I am hopeful. But it would be amazing if we could see some of the combat, and they kind of showed some of the combat. I think it's really big. So this is what they did show, and of course we also have all the news about World Stage. To be honest, this is a lot for Evo, because Evo is a dedicated to hardcore event, not a mass marketing event, right? You're not being picked up by like all of the game magazines for news drops there. You're speaking directly to fans. You're speaking directly to fighting game players. And yes, they want to see everything, but something like Tokyo Game Show is aimed at a much larger audience. You get higher numbers. So here we go. And again, what we're seeing is this trailer. We're looking at the training stage, and you can see all these different squares going up and down, different variabilities in terrain, right? We're seeing more a direct look at Akira. We're seeing into his face in motion. We're seeing Stella as well. Stella has got some kind of insignia on that costume. So, now there are kind of big hands here. And here you're kind of seeing the dynamic blocking, and actually what you can kind of expect from the combo system. As I've said before, I expect the combo system to be more grounded, and what we're looking at is something that would look more like a movie fight scene. Not quite the kung fu spectacle. Now this thing is things that some people are wondering about, these special effects that are going off. But a lot of times, again, we're seeing like lighter versions of the hit sparks. They're still there. They're just less showy, but they are visible, and they are giving you information in terms of color and other stuff. Now this thing has drawn some criticism, but I think this is like the end of the round, or maybe the end of the final round thing. I'm actually not worried about slowdown, but some people are. But I do think it's good to create dynamic motion in the fights. And so I think we are looking at aiming at a more cinematic fight flow. That said, for us that play Virtua Fighter, we know that the speed of the game we talk about is the speed of decision making, the speed of action and reaction and action. But you know, like for sure this tier might look kind of slow, except that when you try to imagine how it plays like VF, it still looks like it's very much gonna probably play like VF. I don't know how final it is, but also we are seeing something that looks a lot more like Baiji-Kwan from this Akira, right? We're seeing things that look like the double palm, looks like a guard break. We see stuns and we see a combo knockdown, right? The two-handed push, the P plus K. And then at the same time with Stella, we are seeing interesting dynamics with the way that the attacks go, and also the, again, dynamic blocking, but then also what the hits, dynamic hitting. Of course, the tooth is like some people find that to be a corny touch. We will see, but I think we're going to see something similar along those lines. So I'm honestly excited about that, and I think this is pretty exciting. So again, this is what we're seeing on the new Virtua Fighter project. Again, notice the stage is going up and down. Of course, this could look like any stage, but we are seeing variability in terrain. We're seeing even possibly a straight line, but I don't know if that's what I would expect in the actual game, but we might see platforms. We could see this as a ring out stage, but I doubt it, but maybe. But the stage is huge. If we go back here, this is a really huge stage area, so I do expect to see really big stages, right? This is actually kind of bigger than what we have in Final Showdown and Revo. So, yeah, so this was shown after that. Also, if you look at the stage 2 in the backgrounds, the loading screen thing here, other things, they're just nice touches. This is kind of like the X-Men's like war battle room, you know, and so it'll be interesting to see, but they are calling this on the video the training stage. So this might actually be the actual training stage in game with lines. Now, hopefully we don't have the case where all we are seeing are people playing on training stage, because that was kind of a big complaint in the Street Fighter V and Tekken 7 era, was that everyone just kept playing training mode stages, and that was like a big topic, especially with Maximilian Dude. So yeah. But yeah, the danger room is looking great. This thing, again, not to everyone's touch, but I think it's fine. We see these in Kung Fu films. I'm okay with it. Interesting details on Stella's costume, right? But especially on Akira. And I really like what I see. So again, very excited. More details at Tokyo Game Show 2025. They're preparing real footage and a real presentation for Tokyo Game Show. So that's what we should highlight, is that we are definitely they are declaring they're gonna show more of Virtua Fighter during Tokyo Game Show. By the way, do you guys hear the audio? Let me know if you hear the audio or if you do not. I apologize if you do not. I totally forgot that I set this volume low. So let me know if it's too loud now, because I want to test it out. Okay, let's start here. Tell me if the volume is too low when I play it. I'm moving it up. Tell me if it's too loud. Is it too loud at max? Too loud at max? Is the video's audio good? Because there is video. Okay, we're putting it down. Thank you very much. Yeah, we'll keep it down on low. I am going to show another video because I do want us to build on this. But this was really awesome, what has been covered with what they've shown in this video alone. I'm very happy with. I think that we see a lot. We're seeing ideas of the effects they have. And with Stella, this might even lead. Notice how with Stella, these effects that are happening, she probably is the new Doral, right? Like, she might be a Doral. She might be a synthetic life form, right? If we're looking at the effects of the hits on her versus the effects on Akira. Akira is not having these I'm Jean Grey going through the Phoenix transformation or getting burned in fire, but Stella is, right? So watch what happens when Stella gets hit right here, especially to her face in a bit. I do like the blue. Yeah, see, we're seeing basically Terminator vibes here. Very Terminator vibes about Stella. So. So very interesting things that we're seeing just in this trailer, right? I didn't expect a training video to give me a sense about lore. Did you? So I feel like we're getting some hints about the lore too, just in the effects and how they're designed. So I think that's really cool. I do want to show you guys another video that I do love. This was from during was it during Combo? No, this is Evo Japan. Right here, remember during the Wolf HAWKFIELD reveal? This is the art feature. I'm going to play this in the background. Don't mind the ads. Sorry for the ads. But we'll get through here. All right, here we go. And let's start from the beginning. Okay. It's kind of a long one, but this is a great one. Here. I'm going to put on my headphones so I can hear it too. So as a reminder, this video came out in March, and this video is going to talk about stuff like the motion capture and the art direction, and why Virtua Fighter had many starts and stops for this one.
ここが本当にバーチャファイターを復活できる最後のチャンスだなと思って企画の立ち上げ時に関わっていたメンバーっていうのは本当にいろんなアイデアをこう絞って出していったっていうのはありました。山田プロデューサーを中心にしてですね、新しいコンセプト、バーチャファイターの本来の持つ良さ、リアリティだったりとか、そういった良さっていうのを今の技術で再構築して。
By the way, Crush, it's really good to see you. How are you doing today? And if you guys have trouble seeing anything, just let me know. I'm going to turn the volume up a little bit, though.
そういったところで企画を考えていったっていうのが最初でした。で、その時に僕らアーティストの方からはじゃあそれを何かビジュアル化しようという形で作ったのが開発前のコンセプトムービーっていう。
There's like sense of an overworld here too, right?
コンセプトムービーの中にはニューバーチャファイタープロジェクトが目指すリアリティだったりとか技術的な新しい挑戦、特にモーションの部分だったりとかそういった。
And of course, this is the alpha, which looks like a Jackie Chan fight more than a. And then this is what we did see later or earlier, which is actually closer to what's there now. I think during TGS there'll be a little more in depth. It's not going to be too much info, but it'll be good. You know, just remember that we didn't really see much of like Tekken 8 for a good year or a year and a half after it was revealed. But we will get details. They're giving us information.
めちゃくちゃリアルな動きでこうアクションしていくっていうゲームを目にしてなんだこれっていう。あんまり見たことないなんかこう異質な感覚みたいなのがあったのを覚えてます。でそれは結構衝撃的で自分の中でも目を引いたっていうのはすごく強い印象が残ってます。
Yorin, it's really good to see you. How are you doing? How's everybody in your area? And I hope you've been doing great.
なかったんですけど、セガに入社することになって、その時 AM2 っていう部署に所属になったんですけれども、開発の筐体が会社の中にあったんです。でそれを実際にプレイして、で会社の先輩方からいろいろ教わりながらプレイしていく中で、なんかめちゃくちゃこうテンポの良さだったりとか、この瞬間的に
This is key to VF. The way how you anticipate your next move, the rhythm of the game, and the level of the depth in the game that gets you hooked. Once you start to understand VF, you know what he's talking about right here.
もういくつか携わることもあったんですけど、そんなプロジェクトに関われたっていうのは今考えるとすごい大きなこう貴重な経験だったなと考えて。
Columbus is doing amazing. I've been seeing that they've been posting events in the official VF Discord. I am tempted to encourage somebody to post those events in the community VF Discord so that the discussion's happening more, but I'll try to remind people to and redirect them. Dan DJ looked like they had a good run there though at EVO this year.
なので重みだったり痛みみたいなのを感じるような モーションっていうのは、まあ、ベースにちゃ
So
んと
they're still focused on the weight and damage. I think we're seeing that already now.
今回は確率的なガードモーションと
And they go against having a uniformed guard
流れ
move.
るような攻防というか
So they want more fluid combat, as they've said.
今の技術で作れないか試せないかっていうのは
No, this is okay. So I'm going to pause this. The video we're watching right now is the art directing featurette that came out in March. It wasn't posted, of course, during Evo Japan, but during that time, it was posted on the VF's YouTube channel. So I think this is really, really good. And so I thought this would be great to show everybody again, this video after what we just seen from Evo Vegas. So we're going back to March with this featurette, which I think is a fantastic featurette and gives you an idea of what they're working on and the team. It gives you a lot of feeling about what's going on with the game, with what little info we have. I think it's great. So Firebird says, I still don't fully get the VF flow. I think you do play it, but the thing is earlier you were playing it chaotically. You're getting it better now. But again, when you think about the buffering system in VF, if you're actually buffering, it is premeditation, which is what's happening in a fight. I think he's going to do this, so I'm going to do that. I think this is what's going to happen, so I'm going to go ahead and commit to doing this. This is kind of pre-advancing your sequencing. Later on, you get into delaying because the timing matters and because now you found ways to kind of... Later on, as you get better at VF, you start to understand you can take some stuff, but you just don't want to take the big stuff. So you allow certain things in while letting other things out, and then you react and you play more with time and with delays. But the buffering system makes you kind of play in a more premeditated way, and as a beginner you have to get good at that. And that's why when you're being more certain about what I'm like, this low punch is coming in, I'm going to block it and I'm going to elbow it. But then they don't do the low punch, then you're like, okay, that didn't come out, so now we're gonna shift a little. And the more and more you get into VF, the stronger you get at VF, the more you're able to flow on this really hyper fast pace of decision making. But you're also, the decision making in VF is very rapid because you're thinking of things not only when you get to do stuff, when they're doing stuff, you're still thinking stuff because you still have to respond. You still have to guard or evade or attack because you think they're going to throw, or because you start to see the high attack. So you're like, oh, I'm going to crouch. I'm going to low punch this right away, or I'm going to crouch dash because I see the high coming at me. So I duck under and then I go boom, boom. Right. And then they see that you're ducking the high. So they're like, oh, I better defend and prepare, or maybe I better buffer, like evade just in case my character recovers in time. Now I'm going to evade the attack and I'll strike back at him. And so VF, like, it's not just boom, you got hit, now you got to wait forever. That's Brad when he does a combo. But in a lot of other games, it's like pressure lock somebody, and so they actually have to wait their turn. In VF, you're responding right now. You're responding each time. You might get hit 2 hits of the string and you can still evade, or you can still duck a high, or you can still sabaki sometimes, something like that. So in VF, it's not wait till those 4 hits, those 4 attacks come by and then do your turn. You can't do that in VF. VF, you're just like, oh, like I'm getting hit, but I'm going to low punch if he goes for a high here. I'm going to sabaki if he goes for this. I'm going to evade if he goes this way, And so it's not your turn, my turn. It's just action, action, action. Both sides, offense and defense. And that's what I love. And so VF is fast paced on decision making because you have to make decisions at almost every step. It's rare that you're locked out until you get comboed. So yeah. So which player? Oh, yes. Mix-Up is great. Okay, so Yoran says, I heard you recently played against Mix-Up. Mix-Up was very good. I can tell that there are things that they weren't in their game yet, but they were doing so good with what's in their game. They're comfortable using spacing and forcing decisions and playing on like set play. So I described their play as very set play oriented, right? Not so much in the neutral, more in, okay, we're going to lock this. Now I know the guessing decisions and we're going to play this way. So you're mentoring them great because, to be honest, a lot of people, that's the harder thing for them to learn. But Mix-Up is playing really good And I think they have so much skill and potential. So I was really excited when I fought them and really impressed with the way they're playing. And we had a great conversation on Discord after too. So yeah, we're gonna continue this this featurette and continue the discussion. But I hope you guys are enjoying this. Again, we're watching the art directing Virtua Fighter featurette that came out in March. But or was it April? And it's a lot of fun. It is a good watch. We're listening to basically the active producer on the game, and this part's the exciting part. We're going to talk about the motion capture a bit. So here we go.
なのでティザーの中でも一部お見せできてると思うんですけど、相手の攻撃に合わせたガードモーションが再生されたりとか、それ以外にもいろんな表現力を上げる試みっていうのはすごくトライしている状況ですね。本物らしさみたいなところはすごく気をつけてます。で、実際にはモーションキャプチャーにも本当の競技者というか、
So their motion actors are actually practitioners of the fighting art. So if they do Kempo, it's going to be a Kempo artist. Jeet Kune Do, someone who's practiced at least some level of Jeet Kune Do.
キャプチャーをしてでゲームの方に落とし込んでいくっていうのは今回は結構取り組んでいるポイントだったりします。
By the way, that's pretty high budget to do it like that. So, all right, and of course we saw the Wolf trailer.
ってすごくこう格闘技の流派をそのままビジュアル化したようなキャラクターデザインが多かったんですけど、今回はその龍が如くスタジオの強みでもあるそのナラティブの部分っていうところで、設定だったりキャラクター性、そのバックボーンにあるそのキャラクター自体のストーリーみたいなところをすごく重要視してまして、でそこを再構築しているという状況です。なのでそれを生かしてそのキャラクターの見た目に本作に登場するリアリティ、納得できるような
I do like the product placement of the wolf figure from Storm Collectibles.
デザインっていうのはすごく今回重要視しています。具体的な年数とかっていうのはちょっとお伝えできないかなとは思ってるんですけど、やっぱり前作からはある程度の期間っていうのが経って、
It's cool to see Wolf like this, right? And then look at the Akira model there.
ある程度年月が経ってその既存のキャラクターっていうのはすごくこう見た目としては成熟していたり、本当それぞれ
We know that years have
人
passed.
生を送ってきて今回の本作のデザインに変わる。でその変化しているところにこれまでの間の年月だったりとか、そういったところを感じていただけるとありがたいかなと思ってます。いろんなものからインスピレーションを受けたりはするんですけど、映画だったりとか、アニメだったり漫画だったり小説だったりとかっていう、いろんなコンテンツからっていうのももちろんありますし、もちろんゲームも研究としていろんなタイトルを触ったりはしたりはしますね。ただやっぱりグラフィックとしてのなんかインスピレーションはやっぱり映画だったり、本当に CM とか本当街を歩いてて見かけたものだったりとか、そういったものから着想を得たりとかすることは多いです。若い頃というか、幼い頃からその10代の前半ぐらいの時はファン風映画っていうのが流行ってまして、すごく見ていて影響を受けたっていうのは本当にあると思います。テンポだったりとか、そのかっこいい動きだったりとか、そういったアクションにはなんかすごく目を引かれてたっていうのはあるんですけど、多分それって今ってこう形を変えて、なんか本当にハリウッドの映画とかにでも当時のままの武教的な映画ではなくったとしても、現代劇としてそのカンフーアクションとかが取り入れられてたりで、あとはそれに加えて新しいアクションみたいなところも結構入ってきてたりするので、それはなんかその生かし方としてすごくかっこいいなと思いますし、自分も参考にしたいなというのはありますね。もちろん映画を見るときはその映画自体が面白さというか、なんか本当に感情が動かされる感じとかっていうのはもう普通にニュートラルに見たりはするんですけど、それ以外でちょっと職業病的な見方にはなっちゃうんですけど、映画を見てそのカメラワークだったりとかライティングだったりとか、そういった一個一個の要素を見たりすることもあるんですけど、やっぱり映画の中で時々なんかこのいきなりすごい引きのショットが入ってて、なんでこのショット入れたんだろうみたいな。でその時にクリエイター側の意図というか作家さんの意図というか、その技術的なものなのか、もしくはキャラクターの感情表現を出すための ショットだったりとか、あとは先のストーリーの暗喩だったりとか、もしくは他のタイトルへのオマージュだったりとか、答え合わせはできないんですけど、こう勝手に想像して、でそれをこう自分の中でこういうことを自分も試してみたいなっていうところは結構気にして見ているっていうのはありますね。結構メンバーも若いメンバーも本当にベテランのメンバーもチームの中にはいます。
So I do like this part. This part stuck with me a lot.
良かったものとか最近見て面白かったものみたいなのはすごいこうお互いに情報交換するような感じにはしているで本当にやっぱり自分にないこう価値観だったりとかいいものっていうのはその中には結構あったりするので、それはなるべく吸収していきたいなというふうに思って見ている感じです。バーチャファイター全体としてのチームとしてはもういろんな意見が出てたりはするんですけど、僕が一緒にやってるその特にグラフィックアートのチームの話をさせていただくと、本当キャラクターのデザインしたりとか、もう本当に街の設定をどうしていくか、背景のデザインをどうしていくかっていうところに対しても本当みんないろんな意見を出してくれてるので、非常にポジティブですし、もともと本当バーチャファイターを作ってたようなベテランからプレイしたこともないような若い世代の人たちっていうのも大勢チームにはいるので、それぞれの観点からいろいろな意見を出してるっていうのはすごく本当自分も刺激を受けますし、プロジェクトにとってもすごくいいものになるんじゃないかなというのは感じてます。でやっぱりどんな状況でもなんか本当にアイデア出し続けてでいいもの作っていこうっていうマインドがチームの中にはあるので、それに関しては本当に助けられてますし、本当チームメンバーを誇りに思ってます。もともとのバーチャファイターシリーズが持つその要素としてはやっぱりイノベーションっていうのはすごく強かったかなという印象です。今までバーチャファイターを本当に楽しんでいただいてたファンの皆さんにも、もしくは待っていただいてたファンの皆様もそうですし、全くバーチャファイターをプレイしたことのない若い方にも興味を持って触ってもらえるようなタイトルにするっていうのが非常に大きな目標だとは思ってます。でそのためにはやっぱり今までのバーチャファイターにないものもどんどん取り込んでいかなきゃいけないですし、その結果格闘ゲームの枠を超えたタイトルにしていくっていうのが大きな目標だと思ってます。
All right. Now there's the video I'd like to show after that, of course, is actually going to be the very first video that we saw of Virtua Fighter, right? And that is when we realize that Virtua Fighter is back, right? And so, let's see. This good stuff, and of course, right here. Now that we've gotten more context. That's a good flashback. So now, for this context, let's go look back really quick at what we just saw today, right? And so now there's more context for this. We can appreciate it even more, and it feels more full. We have a bigger picture here. We're looking at the training level. I love these floors being dynamic like this. It's a cool presentation, but it also gives me some ideas about what could happen with stage design. And of course, we're going to see more at Tokyo Game Show. Now, I mentioned this earlier, but I'm going to repeat it for people that join the stream later. If you look at these attacks, notice Akira's getting hit different than the way Stella is. I think this is actually implying lore, because Stella, we're seeing Terminator effects on Stella. We're seeing what we're used to seeing is a more subdued version of Revo's hit sparks here. And again, these aren't final, these are early, but still, we're seeing a lot. And so Akira's looking like normal hits here, right? But when Stella gets hit by counter hit, we're seeing some pretty cool particle effects going off. And I think that's because, you know, she might be the new Doral, right? Like this, right? So you can see the burning here on her face. I turned cursor off so you guys can't see my cursor, but you can see that it's burning right there. You can almost see her brain. And of course that ash effect, right? And then the effects that we know are used to seeing from this combo. Nice Okizemi by Sarah as usual. And of course, some in-depth effect really close for a final. Now, this is the thing that drew a lot of people's attention, and not always the best way, but I still think it looks cool to me. I think it's something that we get over pretty quick, but we're critical when we have little to go on. Something else I wanted to point out then was that is this a guard animation here? Or is it? It's not a pari, but watching the way that she just this sway back here. What do you guys think that might be? Do you think that's normal guard? Maybe it's normal guard, but you know, it could be giving us some idea though of it's not exactly evade, but maybe there could be a small evade. That's really interesting, right? Yeah, I think there's lots of information here, right? And then of course this is ducking under a high. You got Okizemi, and looks like a quick get up. Doesn't look like a manual roll anymore. This is basically guard break as far as I can tell. So, you know, dashing elbow, P plus K, right? Throw whiffed under the duck, but it looks more natural now, right? But at least the trained eye can see it. So I think there's just a lot of good stuff going on here. And I think we were given a lot, more than I was expecting. And I'm pretty happy about it. But, and there's even stuff to speculate. And I could even talk about my thoughts on slow motion, because a lot of people are kind of critical about the slow motion. So I'll leave this on the full screen here like this. When people talk about the slow motion, I think there's different ways to use it. Now, one, this thing only really shows real, actual slow motion on the final hit. There are dramatic action and pauses, but I think those are more natural looking and cinematic. I think that's what they're going to go for regardless, and I like that. Yeah, it could be small backdash. That'd be so cool. Yeah. And so that slow-mo is an interesting point. So here's the thing. Tekken 7 had slow motion on near death, right? Whenever a situation looked like you were going to get a killing blow, whether it did the killing blow or not, it would slow motion. And that was pretty hype. And I don't want VF to do that, but I think that gave me really good ideas, though. When I was trying to imagine a VF6 before they revealed anything, I was like, you know what I think would be cool, and this is maybe a controversial idea. What if when we play the game in, like, let's say the quest mode, the early stages, let's imagine it's Virtua Fighter. Let's imagine everybody likes to do fighting. Everybody likes to be a fighter, but people want to train. And so the Virtua Fighter part to me was like, what if the player had the option, or at least when they went through just the very, very beginner place, and then it was optional after that for single player, and then it could be a room option in multiplayer, but not in ranked. It wouldn't be in ranked. But this idea I had was, what if we use slow motion to tell people that are building their skills or playing single player, if they turned it on, if we use slow motion to tell them when you had guaranteed damage, when you had Nitaku, right? The game knows when you're going to have Nitaku in very concrete situations. And then maybe even evade, but there's different levels we could turn it on and off as a single player experience, right? And then that's cinematic, but it's not at the high level. Everybody will know at the high level, we're expecting you to react like a high level player. So if you're playing in the higher ranked levels, this is no longer really an option, but it is an option in fun single player modes. And it is an option in rooms if we turn it on or turn it off. So a room would say, yeah, we have it on. Room says, no training wheels here. These training wheels help beginners see what high level players see in VF. Don't you have trouble? When you're learning VF, it can be trouble seeing when you have Nitaku. If you when you played quest mode and it kind of showed you that you have it there and you do it enough, and then after that you're like, you know what? I don't need these training wheels anymore. So when you fight, you get used to seeing it in real time. You're like, that's the move. That was guard punishable. That was Nitaku. That was a big evade. And then the evade, because it's slow motion, you kind of see what you evaded. Would it be really cool if you had that as an option for people that just wanted to play single player or people that were building their skills, but they could turn it off if they wanted to as well? And that to me could be the quote unquote Virtua Fighter, right? Like as if you had, at the time, virtual reality goggles, but now you could say a chip implanted in your head, right? But as if you had the user interface built into yourself, so time slowed down for these moments that require what real world players have fast reactions to deal with, information processing. And as a player, you're trained. You're like, oh, I see it. Then it's just like replay takeover, but in real time. And I think that would be cool. So that was one of my personal ideas that I thought could be cool if somebody did that. I didn't want to say it out loud, but because I wanted VF to be the one that would do it. But I think that would be really cool. Okay, back from the ads. So yeah, so what if the slow motion can be used as training wheels for a player that wanted to get better? They could see the things that are hard to see at a high level, but they can turn it off. And then, but in real matches, maybe only certain rooms would have it, or certain mini tournaments had it. But most tournaments, the standard is no, there's no training wheels. But this game helps you get there if you want to. And you could play the whole single player experience this way if you wanted to as well. Because then they're having fun, they're unlocking costumes, they're playing quest mode. And maybe there's a higher reward if you turned it off. But players like me would turn it off because we know what we're doing and we want to push our abilities. We want to see those situations. But then when we want to, we could turn it on and go, hey, you know what? I really am not reacting that well to that situation. That is how you make it accessible with still having a high skill ceiling, still being the standard is play the high skilling, but you could just have fun. Maybe you don't see yourself going to be a high level player, but you want to have fun and you want to see what's so good about VF. And then isn't that better if the audience sees that that's what the high level player is doing? That the high level players are doing this and more, the option selects, everything else, that's in there too. So I think slow-mo can be used in a way that's opt-in, opt-out, and then at the highest levels it's opted out. But it's screened out at the highest levels, but that's okay. Not everybody's destined or wanting to be the highest level player. But a lot of people would like to understand, appreciate, enjoy and see the challenge, see the potential of high level VF play. And then it makes it easier as an audience when you're watching a real match to see what the hell they're doing, even if you're not seeing it at that speed. But you have an idea because when you played with training vision on, you could see it. I think that'd be amazing. So that's my take on what could be used for slow-mo. And I wonder if other people think that would be kind of neat too. And I'm definitely not. I'm pretty sure I'm not the only person who's thought of it this way. But I think it would be cool. Yeah, because I want. Yeah, yes, tournaments having ways to enhance the viewer experience is something I've always wanted to do. You know, like when I played this game Vainglory, that was a mobile MOBA. That's like a League of Legends, right? I did think about how one of the most important concepts in MOBAs, in like League of Legends and Vainglory, is understanding that you're managing power spikes, that at certain points the other team is just ridiculously strong, and that's when they should push. And at other points the other team is strong, and sometimes there's a carry that's too strong, so you need to identify it, right? And I was like, maybe in the game they don't have to see it, but it would be cool if the spectator could see who's on fire right now, or they could follow like the budget, how much gold was spent, what level's at, who is peaking right now. If they saw that, they would understand the decision making that the other team's making. They would understand why the other team is running away from this team, and then why they changed they're now going after them. And they would understand the flow of the actual match without having to do it themselves, but to appreciate what the pros are doing. And so, you know, it's just, so I've always felt it would be cool to kind of help guide that in many ways through gameplay as well. So yeah. Exactly. Could have casual mode tournament. And because there are people that do want to play casual only online. There are people like that. The other idea I have, of course, is that I think I'm happy to have bots implemented in the online modes too, actually. Now, ideally, it's crowded and you're going to run into all humans. That's the ideal. But sometimes you don't have that. Sometimes you're like me, you're playing at 3 a.m. And it's okay if we run into a bot, if the bot's not broken, if the bot is fun to fight against, and we don't have to know it's a bot. But the core is that what you don't want is, you don't want to go into the mode and think it never happens. That's like somebody holding a local and they always stop it. They always they don't show up. That's like the worst thing that happens in communities, is making an event and don't show up. Right? And that happens, but that should never, because that's what kills that event. But more than anything, because once people feel it's not reliable to go to the event, that's a problem. This is the same thing about the retention problem with online games. If the game is not really huge, you know, and people, I mean, I do love to use Discord, and I'm fine with that, but not everybody likes to do that. So I do think that's why a lot of popular online multiplayer games have used bots for 20 years. But they just didn't tell anybody, and so the player didn't know. But one of the fun telltale signs of this too is when you have a friend getting into like either a MOBA or FPS, and they're talking about how they can't believe how dumb all their opponents are, and then 3 weeks later, as they ranked up, they cross the threshold, they're now fighting humans, and they start complaining about why the game's so hard. This is usually because they've been playing bots for those first 2 weeks and they had no idea, and then when they thought they were amazing. They thought everybody sucked. Well, I can't believe how dumb these people are. And then they get blown up and they're mad about the matchmaking in the game. I don't really want that to happen, but what I am saying is that bots have been used for a while and there are advances. It can be better. So I hope that makes sense to you all. But it is funny when you watch friends go through that cycle. So, you know, and I don't want to say anything because I kind of know what's going on, or I'm like, yeah, they were playing bots, now they're playing humans, you know? And so, because you want people to really enjoy and have fun. I don't want to ruin their fun, you know? So just let them know that people got amazing there. Yeah, new VF, right? It's looking really, really amazing. Let's watch the Wolf trailer, by the way, because we didn't show that yet. And then let's have the conversation. Now we can talk about Evo. You know, I kind of said what I want to say about this, but
we're completely unconventional.
Let's see.
And my website.
That's not what I want. That's the ad, but still, did I get the right video? No. Let's do this one. Here we go.
for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Returning to the ring, a legend in his own right, a man who once dominated wrestling, who redefined what it means to be a fighter, and what dark design of fate has led him to face tonight. The very team that spelled an end to his glory days, that led to his controversial retirement, that shocked the world. Free from his pack tonight, he's hunting solo. The force of pain you can contain. Wolf HAWKFIELD.
Now, earlier somebody had mentioned that Wolf HAWKFIELD has got like a brace on, right? And so like so somebody earlier talked about the brace, right? And you know, hey, it's pro wrestling, and yes, they do get hurt. On the other hand, sometimes they put those braces on to fake people out. So they got a secret move that goes after people trying to crush his knee. You know? But yeah, I do think that some people have talked about a tutorial, and they're like, they better have a tutorial like Evo, and I agree, but I also think that tutorials only teach about 20% at best of the players that play. They're the ones that stick, so we want them, and we want material that gets people that want to study and enjoy the game deeply. But of course, for most people, the way that you teach has got to be through the game itself, through single player, especially through whatever it is that's fun. So this is the key thing, not making it feel like a chore. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Tekken 8's world, you know, like their quest mode, because their quest mode was a long tutorial mode, but it was fun. It's more fun than the normal tutorial mode. But I do think there's ways to play like VF4 Evo's quest mode and the game kind of getting you there, or hinting you enough times that, like, you know, ways to kind of show you and stuff. And then of course, like I talked about, the slow motion feature being, but not as like a handicap feature, not as a newbie feature, even give a little trophy for doing it to stuff, but as a way of seeing the game through advanced eyes as part of your advanced training within the game, is that you're going to go be a fighter, but with these training goggles on, right? With these training VR headset on, with this jacked brain that's got a user interface. You're like Cyberpunk, you know? And it's like, oh, okay. Like suddenly, I evaded that. I can do this. And then as a player, you just kind of want to engage in that. But then later on, you start playing the game at high speed and you're like, oh gosh, this is tough, but I think I can do it because I know. Because most of the time what you need for the commitment is to know what it is you should do. When you block a low punch and you elbow back, it's you need that knowledge that that's what you should do to get you to actually practice it. This is why, like in martial arts, a lot of the teaching is that way. It's just taught in the order of, okay, do a block. The first thing they'll teach you, block, right? Who expects someone to be good at blocking from the start? But that's what they teach you, and they muscle memory it. And it ends up actually, as corny as this sounds, it ends up being like Karate Kid. Because in Karate Kid, he's teaching him all this stuff. And then, again, it's corny in the movie, but in real life, it kind of does do this, where suddenly, once they're in the fire, they kind of know what to do because they were trained to do it. And so it comes out like muscle memory. Blocking a low punch, doing an elbow, eventually becomes like that too. And so, you know, that's fighting games. And I think there are ways we can make that part of the process without it being boring, but just being part, like just what we do. And after a while, we're good at it. Some players just learn that on the normal way. Some players just learn that fast, and some players learn it very slow. And some people don't realize they're not buffering. They hear about it, they read about it, they see my videos, but they still don't know they're not doing it until they fight. But I think there's ways to get us there in a fun way without it being feeling like it's so laborious either. So yeah. Hey, Shadosha. Hey, everybody give a shout out to Shadosha. Shout out Shadosha and Limey. Great storytellers this weekend. Great teamwork. great working together, great really telling the stories, shining a light on hints of the stories, showing the fun, showing some of the alluding to some of the drama in a fun way. I loved it. This Evo coverage was great. It was a 2-man team the whole weekend, and it worked out really, really well because you guys worked really hard. I know you probably had to take a meal break or a meeting just during one game. I was amazed that you came back after the one match. But because you had worked quite a bit of hours there and with some pauses and stops and starts, but you came back and you still kept killing it. So thank you so much for your awesome work this weekend, Shidosha. And thank you, Limey, for your awesome work this weekend. So yeah, so we got the news. I am glad that Blackstar got in that too. So I like Blackstar has a good voice for it and has a good flow. Keep working at it, and I would like to see Blackstar do more commentary actually. I thought that was really cool too. So keep it up. Keep up that work. And Blackstar was able to bring in some stories, and he didn't go too long, right? Like with me, you're worried I'm going to go too long with it or too slow when I have to think about how to phrase it. But Blackstar just naturally started talking about some of the stories, and he got in and out of it really well. I thought it was good. I thought it was like very, very well, to be honest. So yeah, thanks for guiding him into that too. Thanks for getting him to practice doing some commentary. All community love, man. I did tease in the private chat though that like, how you were kind of, you were kind of nudging about, especially about, Yellowtails is coming out of retirement, the whole retirement meme, right? But then I kind of also admitted that I was kind of laughing because Shidosha also has a retirement meme, is part of the club. So, but we really love you, man. And we love having you in the ring, and we love having you on the commentator desk too. So thank you so much for your work, man. Dash is not retired. That's exactly why he did that. I loved it. I really, really loved it. And I do love this self-deprecation, this wonderful thing when you make good use of it. Shidosha makes good use of it. Shidosha's having fun when he admits they're sometimes the bad guy, and they're having fun sometimes when they admit that GT beat them up, so it's but Shidosha is amazingly strong, and I know deep in his heart he wants to make sure everybody remembers that he's effing strong. So like he's like, that's why we're also saying you're not retired, because you're still strong. So, but yeah, VF, we're doing good. A year ago, can we imagine what we got now, and what we're getting? I think Shidosha, I congratulate you and everybody who went to Evo this year, because you guys just had one of the very best weekends of VF ever. And it just makes me happy that you guys got that. I got it too, vicariously, and it's not the same, but for those that are there, I'm happy for those that are there. I'm happy for Sega doing this. I'm happy for Evo working with them to do this. I'm happy that I think it was a really successful Evo. There's, of course, in the postmortem, there's going to be things they want better, of course. But I'm really happy. I'm happy when I see the players are happy too. And all of my friends that are there having the best time. They're having a blast. They might complain about a match, but they're loving the whole weekend. Even Homestay Akira, right? Homestay Akira, I know he's not happy with his result, but he's admitted how much fun he really is having. And, he loves being there. And he's always the most class act in all of VF. All around the world, there are two names that get mentioned the most among VF players. Those two names are actually Chibita and Homestay Akira in all of my travels. There are others that are almost up there with them, but those two are the top two that get mentioned the most. Homestay Akira and Chibita, right? Chibita because his play is ridiculous and it lights your imagination on fire about what you can do in VF. Homestay Akira because by many he's the Akira champion, and for many he's a teacher also, and he's generous with his time and his knowledge. Just like this weekend, Shidosha explained on stream that that Homestay Akira explained the insane do or die tech at the, well, not do or die tech, the insane type of Nitaku you can do at the wall that can totally wreck you on basic jab and low punch, right? And that you need to understand so that you don't get wrecked yourself. And that he had explained this to the American players, to everyone, so that they understood. Homestay Akira is always kind. He's a true champion. He's a legend, and he's a great teacher. And Virtua Fighter's lucky to have Homestay Akira. So I'm just really, I had to gush about Homestay Akira right now. Itabashi Zangief having so much fun on the stage, so much fun. Even when he was trotting off the stage was so cute. You know, he's having the time of his life. He's proving himself in VF, which we know Itabashi Zangief's heart is so much in VF. It is so much in VF. His heart never leaves VF, and you can just see how happy he was playing as well as he was, performing, and just really getting a spot at the Virtua Fighter Open Championships. I'm really happy for Itabashi. I'm really happy for Ida-san. So yeah, what an amazing weekend. Just congrats to everyone. I also love Nyanta's run. Nyanta's run was freaking amazing. Nyanta had an amazing performance. That was really, really great. So yeah. So, is there anything anybody else wants to talk about? What would you all like to talk about? I thought this weekend was awesome. Thanks everyone involved, and I just think Virtua Fighter is back, but you know what? Virtua Fighter is killing it. They are really killing it. Yeah, Stella being an android, right? We'll highlight that shot. I won't replay it over and over, but now what I'll do is I'll highlight that shot, right? So let's highlight where that's at. It's like right here, right? So here we got, let's do T1000 right there, right? This is not T3000. This is like Terminator Genesis, right? We've got like, we're seeing exposed parts of the android right here, right? Yeah, crossplay's coming soon. Well, you know what? There doesn't have to be one league. We can have many more leagues. And so, we can have many, many more leagues. So that's something we should say, right? If we get crossplay, we need more people to be running leagues, especially when we have a crossplay audience. And I think it's going to be good. I think we'll be able to do that, But I think it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to that too. Yeah. What was that looking like there? But yeah, so we get to see Stella really taking those hits and is basically an android, maybe. Yeah, Laongshan might be androids actually. That might be true. But then that makes you sad about Sarah, right? But we know that, look, Sarah had amnesia. We now have a story for Sarah's amnesia. She was kidnapped by J6 and part of their cloning program. That's not news. But basically, Stella is, an android Sarah. Because, it just took him long enough to finally put her out there. Yeah, Homestay's generosity is time. Yeah, LA Gathering. I plan to be at LA Gathering. It's going to be amazing. Yeah, Kage's mother, Vanessa. Yep. I plan to go to Los Angeles Gathering. Yeah, it is in the. I can go. I'm pretty sure I can go. So I'm going to say that almost for sure I'm going to be there. So Los Angeles, here I go. Jackie's daughter, yeah, except with all this like exploding ash and stuff. We're like, man, Jackie, what'd you do to your daughter? They're using advanced text to reconstruct after domestic abuse. No, we're not saying that. That doesn't happen. VF is not going to be associated with domestic abuse. just, amnesia and brothers and sisters, and, maybe Jackie having a sister complex if you play VF Kids. So, because VF Kids ending looks like sister complex. Should we play the VF Kids ending? Yeah, let's play the VF Kids ending. That's going to be a fun one. If we're doing videos today, let's do Virtua Fighter Kid endings, because this is way too fun. Let's do it. So, this is like, so here we go. All right, we're gonna do the Virtua Fighter Kids ending while we're talking. You guys enjoy the show while we chat. It's gonna be so much fun. I don't remember a domestic. Oh yes, yeah. We can go over the VF heads too. That's a good one too. Yeah, let's see Jeff slam a shark. So this is the intro video to Virtua Fighter Kids. I gotta turn the volume up. This volume is so low. Can you guys even hear that? I can't hear Jack. This is real low volume. Is it loud for you guys? Tell me if it's loud for you, because if it is, then I won't. But otherwise, I'll jack this volume up a little. So this is the intro movie. It's great, right? And lightning kicks. Yes, it was called Lightning Kicks, right? We only this one. We love this one too. This part's great here. This part's great. I love this game so much. I played it with my son not too long ago. We played on the Polymega. It's just a lot of fun. I have my Saturn, but modern TVs. Oh, this game was awesome though. This game existed because VF2 was really popular, and then the Sega Saturn, they wanted to make something on the Saturn board, but they're not going to make another Virtua Fighter 3 on that. But they did end up making VF Kids, and you know what? It was successful enough that Capcom made Pocket Fighter, right? And Super Deformed was starting to become a popular craze with the PlayStation 1 hardware. So what it was it's a solution, being like, what can we do with this new consoles? And this was made on the Titan board, which is basically a Sega Saturn board with maybe extra memory. And yeah, there's the facial expressions. It honestly looks really good compared to a lot of other Saturn games. It comes out very clean. But this game, honestly, to me, is a lot of fun to play. I have a lot of fun playing VF Kids. The funny thing is because of the T-Rex arms, VF Kids is a little tricky to play, but the assist mode makes it a little easier and smoother to play. So that was like early forms of modern controls is VF Kids, because it had assist mode or kids mode, and kids mode made it easier to control and play. Even that's kind of making fun of the lack of range. These characters, these characters have an El Blaze problem before El Blaze existed, So, all right, let's see. Where's our endings? Right about here. Oh no, this is arcade. Sorry. Let's get the endings. Oh, there it is. Here we go.
Getting all your daily nutrients is hard work.
Get through the
But
ads.
nutrition gaps in your diet are inevitable.
Shoutouts to I Play Sega. VF3 had a first-person mode. I'm not sure about kids. Now, who's this character? Should we have this character come back? He looks like he's coming out of Dragon Ball Z. Not just the android, but as like the guys in at the tournament. Like Bobby D's henchmen. Oh, poor Akira. Las Vegas. Sega cannot resist doing blonde jokes. She just did a rip kick on Jackie. By the way, there's more to this story. Here it is. Yes, in America we make that sign too. Just kidding. He just lightning kicked the car. Yeah. Is it Combo Breaker or CEO that we have to give credit to making Mahjong at the BYOC very popular? Just to remind everybody, Pi is an action film star. I like Beyblade being also at fighting game tournaments. Pi was the champion against sexual harassment. This looks like a Lao ending before Lao's ending, or martial law's ending before martial law's ending. Because I think this was before Tekken 3. Lao be cooking. Lao be cooking. This is actually reminding me of one of the VF4 ads. But anyways. It was getting good. this is the one we all love. The sunflower. Hegemony has been restored. Hegemony fulfilled. Oh no. Wolf, no. Aw. I wonder if the cape, that would be cool if the cape comes back. Does Leon have a hair? Yeah, oh no. Okay. Okay, this one's classic too. The hardest work of animation done on this ending. Yeah, leave the old kid alone. That environment. We're watching the VF Kids endings real quick, just kind of as a moment of comedy. That said, I hope Ryan Hart was able to get all of his luggage back, and usually you are able to when that happens. But it's unfortunate that his luggage probably went on the wrong flight. So I hope he was able to get everything back. But it is too bad he missed out on the VF tournament. Before there was Up, there was Doral and the Red Balloon. Ryan couldn't play the tournament because his luggage was lost at the airport, or I think his luggage got on the wrong flight or something like that, but I don't know about the Why Is She Naked video, but anyways.
Incoming dishes! Stop!
Okay, that said, there's one other video I do want to show, and it should be fast, which is... So, it's not the opening, but let me see if I can get the right video here. Well, the VF4 ads are pretty cool, though. So those ones would be cool. This video, this is going to be distorted, but it is one of my favorite videos because of the when Virtua Fighter 4 was first revealed, that was about as exciting as like the VF6 opening. Now this is gonna be distorted, so I apologize. But this video was kind of how we saw it when we first saw VF4, and it just was mind-blowing. I remember VFTC being all lit up. We had to download the video. There wasn't streaming sites. Well, there was real TV, but you were still basically downloading videos. But just this first time seeing it. Now we didn't see those arts, so this is definitely the intro in the arcade, as opposed to the actual trailer. But the trailer looked like similar to this, and it just blew our minds. This is the arcade's intro though, and it looked amazing, you know. And we already had Soul Calibur and Dead or Alive 2 looking amazing, but this looked even more amazing. This was like the new Virtua Fighter. Yeah. Yeah, this trailer was just so amazing at the time, and it just blew us away. Like, we couldn't stop talking about this for weeks, and just so hungry to play VF for. Plead the fifth. VF4 still looks amazing, but it has its unique art style, but it's a gorgeous game. Yeah, and then this part was on there too. Really blew us away. It does. It really does. A lot of people like this Leon costume. I still think it's interesting, but you know. And here comes like the crazy Lao. Right. The US TV, so this spot, I do think this spot actually helped Virtua Fighter 4's sales in the US on PS2 because this spot was played on ESPN.
The mother of all fighting games just arrived on PlayStation 2.
So, like,
so
if you watch
prepare your
ESPN, you would see
mind,
this ad.
prepare your body, but most of all, prepare for a beating. Virtua Fighter 4.
Rated T for teen.
Wanna fight again?
Like, this ad, the reason I talk about this is back then I was still in college and I would go to fraternity houses. I'd go to friends' apartments, like friends that were jocks, and they would have VF4 in there. Like, their game shelves would have nothing but Madden and, like, you know, and then other sports games, and then it had Virtua Fighter 4. And I'm like, maybe it was the ESPN ad, you know? So, but somehow, like, it got to them, right? Now, these ads are amazing. So this one we're going to watch. These ads are awesome.
Hey, hey, hey.
You all want to master skills, right?
Virtua Fighter 4. Sega.
Everybody wants to be a Virtua Fighter.
Virtua Fighter 4. Sega.
Now, and unique ads were these ads. This is probably the end of this segment, but still. It's an interesting ad. You know. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed that. Yes, Corgi Commander, we actually talked about it today, about the Virtua Fighter. So we talked a few points, and it's really exciting, isn't it? What do you think? So Corgi Commander, what did you think of that video? And Foxhound, so good to see you. And good to have you too, Corgi Commander. So yeah, we've been watching this a lot. So I'm gonna fast forward to some of the really quick highlighted points here. Okay. Again, we see the new battle stage. We're getting hints of different variability in stages. We could have live-changing stages, but more than that, we could have different configurations. We could even have a dueling bridge. I'm not saying that's what they're gonna have. They could have variable terrain, probably not, but it's possible, right?
Ready, go!
Okay, so Akira's getting hit. We see his slow motion dodge there. We do see this dodge, just to highlight that it's happening. Doesn't mean that's the gameplay, but it could be. So notice here, we have looks like Terminator here. Looks like Stella An Android. Maybe when Sarah was an amnesiac in J6 prisoner, maybe she was being cloned, right? So that's maybe what we're seeing there. We're seeing cool effects too. We just saw like a fuzzy, just punished the guard whiff. We're seeing good Sarah Okizemi. And we are seeing blue hit sparks on recovery hit. Okay, sorry. We're also seeing Tokyo Game Show 2025. It's going to be awesome to see Tokyo Game Show, isn't it? So, sorry for the loud body. I totally forgot that I had boosted the audio on the browser for some of the other videos. I'm going to pop this down now. Sorry for how loud that is. All right. Akira did get knocked out because, you know, we didn't really want to see an android lose its tooth, but we did want to see, well, actually, some people didn't want to see Akira lose their tooth, but I thought it was cool to show. It could be a dodge button, could be many things, could be just the way a block animation, could be a micro dodge system. We'll see. We have no idea. We should go over that, actually. That's a good idea. So we should go to the VF Direct. So in the VF Direct, we did see something, right? So in the VF Direct here,
What dark design of fate has led him to face tonight? The very team that spelled it into his glory days that led to his controversial retirement that shocked the world.
By the way, that knee brace might be pro wrestling tech. Fake your opponents out so they target that knee and then you beat them up for it. We don't know who the person is, but we're going to show it off here, right? Is it right here? Where was that video? Where was that reveal? I can't remember where it was. I thought it was here. Right there, okay. Well, we saw them today, but not at the next VF Direct, so. That's a knee brace, okay, knee brace. Yeah. So here we go, right?
取り組んでいます。これからも皆様を驚かせるような情報を発信していきますので、次回の VF ダイレクトでお会いしましょう。
So this person here. So actually we can leave it on that. Well, that was funny. Thank you. All right. Why not? We'll leave it on this spot. So yeah, could be Brad, could be boxer, could be a kung fu artist, but it's hard to know. Could be Jeet Kune Do. It's very vague, but it is cool. And yeah, the little hair bun is the thing throwing some people off as well. So yeah, so CDAS says, I thought it was a mechanic like those Tekken 8 Rage Boost attacks, but under certain conditions when the effect is active, but I didn't think about Stella being a clone. Yeah, it could be that too, but I think it's more likely that it felt like that was a hint as to the character. It could be Jackie as well, yeah. Could be Jackie. He decided on a new look after Sarah disappeared. And Stella arrived. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. But yeah, real exciting stuff here. Yeah, the kip up is cool. I did like the wake up animations because it's, you know, we might have quick wake up options that are manual too. Right, we might not have the traditional side rolling animations anymore, and those side rolling animations kind of look more like old kung fu movies, especially when they have like their legs tangled. But I think they might just be moving on things that look a little more like some other fighting games too, but meaning a little faster. And but I think it'll still be really good decisions. It feels like we're going to still have a game that has a lot of good active decision making back and forth and at the really good pace. So I'm really optimistic from seeing the trailer that we had. So yeah, so this will be really, really cool when we figure out what this character is going to ultimately look like. Could be a character from Yakuza. That is very possible as well. It is. Don't rule things out, right? It's a lot of possibilities. So when the hit effects were blue was kind of interesting. That is really interesting because traditionally the blue would indicate, well, in Final Showdown and Revo it's side hit, but in like before that, blue used to be recovery hits. So if we do look at the blue, then that is interesting. If we're looking at these blues again, right? So normal hit, yellow, yellow's the... So yeah, yellow's normal hit traditionally, right? Block is white clouds. By the way, if you want a tip about buffering in Revo, when those white clouds disappear is usually when you can finish inputting your next move. If you do it around the time that those things disappear, that's about usually around the time that the early buffer. And it helps you kind of train yourself on knowing you could do that. Finish the move right after that thing does. So this is interesting, right? Is this like a pari system? Is this a soft blocking system? That's a good point. Are we watching what looks like a soft block system? Or are these paris? Right? Those hand motions, what's going on there, right? Is it armor? I don't really want to think it's armor, but it could be a better version of armor. You know? I mean, there's not much difference between a pari and an armor. If visually they represent different. So here, now that looks like a recovery hit, right? This blue looks like a finishing blow or recovery hit, right? So yeah. No, that was yellow, 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 blue. So it just looks like a finishing blow here, right? So this was like an after effect, right? This is like an after effect because that was not happening here, right? That was just yellow. And so it looks like yellow, looks like they might use the Revo language maybe. Again, this is early. We don't know what the final user interface will look like. But right now in Revo, you cannot really distinguish normal hit from recovery hit except for knowledge, except for knowing that that was a recovery hit. In previous VF games, if you had a recovery hit, it would have like a blue spark, so you kind of knew that you had a recovery hit. That does sometimes matter because sometimes you have more guaranteed stuff on recovery hit. As a player, I'm happy to be skill checked on it, but I do think that if you want the user interface to help the player distinguish, that would help them understand their options a little better. So, you know, it's not a nitpick, it's just a note. So recovery hit, okay. So counter hit is when you hit somebody during the attacking frames or you hit them during the hit frames. And that's, you get a big bonus, usually 50% bonus. If the attack that you interrupted or counter hit is an attack that does 25 or more damage, you get a 75% bonus. So if you interrupt like Jeffrey doing a big swing, that's a lot of damage. You get a huge bonus. That's a red spark in VF, in Revo. So counter hit is when you interrupt. Recovery hit is when you hit the recovery frames of an attack. So an attack is broken down by startup frames, hit frames, and then after the hit frames are the recovery frames when you've whiffed. When you whiff punish somebody, you're recovery hitting. When you guard punish someone perfectly, you are recovery hitting. When you evade somebody and there's nothing they can do because you're attacking the whiff, that's generally a recovery hit. So that's what I mean by recovery hit. You are hitting the recovery frames, the frames that they're still stuck in, they're still locked in on their attack, but it's no longer hitting and it's not starting up. It is recovering. So I hope that, do you have any other questions on recovery hitting though? Because that is basically what I mean by recovery hit. It means hitting the recovery frames, yeah. So yeah, I definitely think there's a story mode. They really seem all in on some kind of lore going on. I think they have to do a story mode too. I mean, in the past, I would have said there are ways to do great single player without story mode, but the way that they're going about this, there is going to be, and there should be, and I think VF is swinging for the fences to be a fun experience for people who want to play single player only as well. And I think a story mode is really, really helpful. Yeah, exactly. I'm cool with it more flashy if it teaches the game more. That's also why Revo ultimately I liked that's a funny image to stop on. I think ultimately in Revo I was happy, or Ultimate Showdown, I was happy with the hit sparks. They were loud for me as a VF player because I'm like, it's not necessary for me, but it helped communicate stuff much more clearly. During the old hit sparks, a lot of people couldn't see them. That said, here's the thing. We're seeing classic hit flashes from before Ultimate Showdown. These look more closer to hit flashes than they do look like the louder hit sparks in Ultimate Showdown and Revo. See how they're like, it's just like a light, right? Like this too, right? It's not so loud. In Revo, they're actually pretty loud. They are looking more like a Tekken hit spark. And so those hit sparks are louder. It does feel like they're toning it back a bit, right? That said, the block clouds are the same. But these are, what we're seeing are just brighter, but they're like hit flashes that were in VF since VF4. So Virtua Fighter 4 all the way to 5R, or till Final Showdown, had what I would call hit flashes. They were lighting effects. They were not hit sparks that were like really like particle effects that were loud. It looks like we're getting a medium between that in this trailer. Like it might be like, okay, they're not as loud as the hit sparks in Revo, but they are more visible though. But you know what? I had friends who could not see the hit sparks for the life of them, and it wasn't color blindness, so that could be a factor. It was just that it was so subtle. It was too subtle, so they just couldn't tell that those things were a thing. And I would tell them what color, and they're like, "I just don't see it, man." And I'm like, "Okay." You know, and you don't want to make someone feel gaslit, you know, so you kind of find a way to work with it. But some of them would just tell me they flat out couldn't see them in the older games, but now they can see them in Revo. So yeah. So yeah, this game is looking pretty fast. This game I think is playing at the normal speed actually. So for me, it looks like the normal speed, which makes me happy. But again, I talked earlier about how I would not mind if there was a way to say I am a Virtua Fighter, like Virtua Fighter's version of training wheels, but you don't present it as training wheels. You talk about as enhanced vision. It's like having a hack in it's like having a user interface, a brain hack in Cyberpunk, right? It's like, okay, when I have my hack on, which is not allowed in like ranked mode, but when I have my hack on and I'm playing in some rooms that have it enabled, we will have slowdown happening when critical things happen, like a Nitaku's, or like Nitaku, or when like you have a guaranteed punish, it slows it down. So like it goes and block, right? And then now you know there's a guaranteed thing there. And this is not to belittle the player. This is to highlight it. It looks cool, and some people will not like it, so they can turn it right off and play the whole game without it. But some people can play single player and can play specific rooms and certain zones in certain modes with this thing on. And yeah, they're getting a slower experience, but what they're really getting is they're seeing the game the way a high level player with knowledge sees the game. And they know, oh, I can force a guess. I can punish on block. I can punish after evade. I can punish after I kip up and they whiffed. And that's okay. Like if the game just does that for that player, on those options turned on, or in certain modes where it's kind of in there, then it's a cool experience. It's not belittling them, and it's not, oh, you're just on training wheels, even though that's kind of what it is. But it is also telling them, oh, I see it. And then when they watch pro fights, when they watch better battles in the VFTV, they kind of see it, and they can pull into replay, and on replay mode, they can enable that and be like, oh, I want to see, like, I want to watch this game at normal speed, but give me the slowdown whenever a critical thing happens, so I know what the pro player is seeing. Because the pro player is in effect kind of seeing it that way. They just know it. It's their knowledge that slows time down, so to speak. It's their experience. I've got these options here. This is the moment to do this. This is when I force a guessing game. This is when I have guaranteed damage. Or this is when they messed up. And having it as part of the game without like it being a natural part, like it, don't do it too slow, but just make it just slow enough, and people, you know, and then that person, if they ever want to watch pro fights, now they can see what the pro's doing in real time, and they have a clue. They have a clue. Oh my God, how fast did they react to that? Holy crap, man, they were on top of that. I see what they see now. So I think that'd be cool. Okay, yeah. So, okay, let me know when we're back. Okay, let's see here. Okay, so Chanchai, how hard are you going to be to fight in World Stage and Revo? You know, it's just going to be whatever bot. I don't think they're not going to try to go find a bot with my name on it. So it's going to be whatever bot is set there. If I told them Chanchai rank 20, it'll be a rank 20 bot. And so you can beat it up all you want, but it will be my name and it will be a Leon. So that would be cool. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. So yeah, so cinematic mode in replay is what I do think would be a cool thing to have. And I think like having this, so this is the way that I envision this, and I said this earlier in the stream, is think of it as we have the words Virtua Fighter. That's the Virtua Fighter part. The Virtua Fighter part is Virtua training, or Virtua, like you as a beginner learning to be a better fighter, but it's not telling you you're being learning to be a fighter. You're just like, oh, let me get my gear maxed on, you know, and now I can see things in slow motion when it's important, right? This is like having a heads up display in your fights, right? And this is something you could turn on a replay mode, but it's something you could turn on. There could be tournaments that are just playing on this mode, right? And the pro's not gonna, well, the pro might play it for fun, but it is good training, even for a good player, because it's like, hey, have you been making critical decisions when this thing happens? You know, I think it'd be cool. So for me, I'm like, that's a cool use of slow motion. And it doesn't mean that that's the main experience of the game. It just means it's the experience for people that want to have it all the time, and the experience for people that are playing certain modes. But then, of course, ranked doesn't have this. And of course, some rooms say, we got this turned off. Yeah. Yes, so Shidosha says set the bot to evade and never block. No, that's, you know, you can do that too. I do block, but it's all good. But I also block for like, I block like the way I hit a punch button, just like bam, you know? So it's like, I block like in martial arts, block, right? This is, okay, in martial arts, this is not blocking. I'm blocking. This is not blocking in martial arts, right? Blocking in martial arts is like doom, right? It's like boom, right? Really quick in the moment. And we go to the next thing, right? It's not moving around with our heads in. Even though in middle school there were people that fought like, what was it, like this? People who fought like this in middle school. Yeah, we don't do that in martial arts, but in middle school we see some people fight like that, you know. So yeah. Yeah, it's like you're moving in slow motion. No, but it is, you know. But yeah. Yeah, so Foxhound remembers middle school kids trying to fight with like the shielded hammer method. With like, it's like, and for whatever reason, it was always some tall nerd, you know, like some tall nerd with glasses found this way to fight, and he's like, okay, then you just kick him in the nads, you know. So, you know. In the group chat, did I see what? I didn't see that, but I will read the group chat, the one that we're talking about. I'll read that, but that is cool. That is, I would like, I'd like to, I will read it, and I bet it's a great idea too. Yeah, they got to learn somehow. Yeah, kick him in the nads. You know, it's like it's like in the Superman trailer. Hey, buddy, look down here. Pong. You know. So, yep, I know the chat. I know the chat, Assassin. No. But yeah. Hey, buddy, look down here. Pong. Kick him in the nuts. You know, not gonna lie, I'm that. I do love doing martial arts fighting, and that's the type of fighting I prefer. But if I'm in a real life situation, I'm probably a real dirty ass fighter. You know, so because I'm like, I want to get out of this situation, and I want you to not be able to chase me either. So I'm gonna ruin the day for you. So I'm gonna do a lot of dirty crap because it's like I don't want to get into a fight, and if I get into a fight, well, it might as well be dirty because I don't want to be on the bottom end of this. You know, so you know, it's like I'll be a street fighter in the streets, and I'll be a martial arts fighter on the mat. You know, so you know, like that's just kind of it's like welcome to real life, son. You know. So, yeah, Yohazuki would be really awesome to have in there. I would love that, but I don't know if I want DLC characters, but DLC optional stuff is cool. That said, it does get boring and then it becomes useless. So there's a problem with that. So that's why I think fighting games have gone, well, you kind of got to use character DLC because people just won't, because there's just not enough people to buy it. And if you don't have enough people to buy it and you want this model to exist, then you have to price it insanely high for the cool cosmetic stuff. And then now you got another problem, but that's because you want to live on the whales, and the whales are not paying for like to replace 1 or 2 people. They're paying to replace 1,000 people each. Right. And so that's why some of those games ended up having those ridiculous prices, because not because they wanted to sell it to everybody, they wanted to sell it to the few people willing to pay that price, the 1%. So it's kind of life, right? That's like how you kind of make the economics work, right? If you got a bunch of people saying, I want stuff for free, but I don't want to pay for it. Okay, but we'll make some pay for stuff that's like super expensive, not for you, for this guy over here. But he's paying for what you get for free. So it's like, oh, okay. But that said, I don't really want this game to be like that too, I just, yeah. Well, I think they're definitely going to do a lot of cosmetics. It's clearly popular, and there are clearly many ways to get it, and they can drown it, but it is a lot of work in modern game. Like Final Showdown, it nowadays might not have cost as much, but to put it in there is stuff about the Dragon engine that does have a higher fidelity and has more masks and layers to its to the costume parts. And so to make them look the way they do, especially when you look at the replay or you look at the intro and the outro. So because of that, they do require quite a bit of work. And so I'm going to turn the fan back on. Yeah. But that said, so yeah, here it's supposed to be very optimized. Yeah. So I'm really excited. What do you guys think? But also want to give a shout out to the tournament. Congratulations to Shiwapan. Congratulations to Itabashi Zangief. And then, the top 8 were all amazing players. All fought hard, so I feel for anybody who doesn't get up there, but at the same time, I'm so proud of them for getting up there. I'm so happy for my boy Renzo getting into the top 8. You, Sarah, is of course amazing and played awesome, but it's, Himajan did really awesome, got 4th place. I think that is really amazing. If you know the full story, the level, Himajan did really, really amazing, and he fought so good. I think whatever seeds of doubt Himajan, and you can't imagine it when you're in North America, but honestly, I know that inside Himajan there's this fire that wanted to be kindled enough to be flamed up more and to be fired up more. And I think Evo really does that. I mean, despite his amazing accomplishments already, but I feel like when he lost to Fudo, lost to Ida-san at Combo Breaker, inside him he does believe he can beat them, but it created frustration. And I think Evo rewarded his conviction and rewarded his faith in himself, his belief, and his fire, right? And so I'm really happy for him, because when you look at how happy he is just after the whole thing, that's what I see. I see Himajan in himself, his heart feeling actually pretty fulfilled, even if he didn't get number 1 or 2, right? Or even number 3. But he knows he's in that group. And he feels that he proved he's in that group. And so I think, and I feel it when I watched him play. He's a guy who doesn't say that many words out there. I mean, he has words, he has thoughts, but he's a little more low key and interesting takes, he's sometimes a serious guy. But when you see him on that stage after those matches, I think you can see his heart is fulfilled. You can see that he's proud of himself and he's having the best time of his life. And I'm so happy for him. I'm really, really happy for him. Yeah, tournament was amazing. I think, high level VF. So that's another reason I'm so excited to get new number. Yes, the new number game is super important. is super, super important. And CDES, yeah, we need a lot more people like to really express it. We do need talents like Foxhound who communicates really well to a lot of demographics that don't always reach to VF but could. And I think when the new VF comes out, the work that Foxhound has put in is going to be rewarded on the VF side too, as well as the other sides. So Foxhound, that's a shout out to you, because I really like what you bring to the table and the many things you bring to the table. And I think you kind of see what I might be seeing. So I'm very excited for the future of VF2, and especially when Virtua Fighter project comes out. Like seriously, I really believe that, and it's what I see. And it's like, just like Shadosha is helping so that there's a team, so that there's a club or whatever you want to call it when the time comes. Something I've said on my stream is that Sega right now with Revo, with the VF Legacy project, is giving us all a chance to have a voice that gets heard, as the VF fans a chance, like hardcore traditional VF fans, because the new project Virtua Fighter is going to be reaching out beyond that. It is going to reach to us, but it will fail if it only reaches to us. Its only way of succeeding is to be a breakout fighting game that puts the whole industry on notice about fighting games, and also makes a splash and is a mainstream success. I really believe like that's what they're swinging for anyways, and that's what it looks like. They're serious. So now we have serious people with a serious mission, with a serious product, with a very serious product, and it has a serious legacy. And so in the scope of that, the community is not entitled to be so recognized. It really isn't. Has it earned it? Yeah, but that's not how life goes. But we have a chance, and our talents like Shadosha. We have to take that chance. We have to take the opportunity. We have to be ready when opportunity knocks. It doesn't wait. And so a lot of people said, you have to, like, preparation is key. Why? Because you never know when opportunity knocks. And if you're not ready when opportunity knocks, it could just leave just as quickly as that. And who are the opportunists who do take the opportunity when it's there? It is the people that are trying to hype things up. It is the people that some of us more introverted folks might not appreciate as much. But they're the ones that are going to make a splash, going to say, hey, I can tell this story. If no one's going to tell this story, I'll tell the story. But you know what? Sega's giving our VF community, Shadosha, myself, others, a chance to tell the story, but also to help shape the story when the new VF comes, and to also be a really good light for players that want to get good at the game, right? Because some of us have to get a louder voice than we have, but Sega's giving us that runway. But with the whole VF Legacy project is giving us a freaking runway to kind of get our game together, get our act up, and also be ready. Because when this thing comes out, they're not going to wait. It's going to come out. It's going to roll out. And the players that come at launch, when you open a retail business, which is getting harder and harder to do, but when you do that, you want to launch properly. Because that's where everybody gets the attention. That's where all the stories are shaped. For a restaurant, long time ago, for a video store, for an amusement center, that beginning is that launch window is where the stories are created. That's where the narrative starts, but that is where the narrative sticks. And so so it really is important to make that huge impression. That's why marketing budgets are like ridiculous for launches. That's why they want to do pre-order sales, because it drops off after that. And so then after that, you have retention. Well, how do you get retention? Well, a good community can hold retention. A good storyteller can hold retention. Somebody who's loving it and sharing that love can help with retention. But that's on us. The hype guys, they're not there for the retention. They're for the launch window. The hype guys are for the launch window. But you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way people are. People got a lot of time. People don't have a lot of time. People got time to spend, but they got to choose where to put it. And so they want to put it in something that feels like it's going to keep rewarding them. So players like me that want to see the game doing well and do better and more, I want to try to be part of that too. I want to help. And having good storytellers like Foxhound too, that can reach more people as well, that can add. It's by reaching more, I don't mean that they have a greater reach than some other talents that we have, but they are adding to the people that get reached out to, right? They help a lot. And they also have preparation. Foxhound prepares for his, when he does his work, you can tell he does homework. He spends time doing homework. He's a serious person. And so, and he's got a serious style. So yeah. So we need all these things, and it can't just be Sega give me this, Sega give me that. Sega gives in the beginning. They give when the budget's there, but the retention's a little different. And so there is some investments that are worthwhile for retention, and but a lot of the stuff you do for the build up to the launch, you can't do that for retention all the time. Generally you cannot do that for retention, period. It's not the same. It's not the same. That's why you see companies put so much effort before a game comes out and when the game comes out and for like the first year. And then after that, they got to move on to the next investment. But if we as a community help build that retention, they will continue supporting it. Now, there's different ways that happens, but, it's what it is. And so, even Tekken 8, at least people are still talking about Tekken 8, so that they do have a retention because the players are actually still playing. They might complain, they might say what they're saying, but they're still playing. But I want VF players to still play, and I want them to keep playing, and I want us to keep doing better and better at retaining, better and better at building, because by building, you have more retention that way. I'm a person that believes in the growth mindset. I also believe in harvesting as opposed to not harvesting. I believe in cultivating more than harvesting. Harvesting is I come in and I take the good stuff. That's harvesting. Cultivating, I go in, I plant the seeds, I pour the water, and I do get the good stuff, but I still keep in mind that I'm going to keep planting the seeds, pouring the water, and I'm going to keep cultivating so that it keeps growing. I'm not just going to slash and burn and take everything. I'm not there because I want to keep enjoying it for a long time, and that's how you do it. So cultivation is key. Cultivation is beginning, middle, and end. You do it. Harvesting is like the launch window, but marketing, the big budget goes up first because that's where everybody comes in. But after that, the party is a different environment. That's why clubs come and go so fast, right? The clubs come in and out with the trend. They have to do a lot if they actually want to retain. They have to do an insane amount if they want to retain, actually. And sometimes they have to do a lot of illegal stuff if they want to be a hot club to retain, and that sucks. But that's clubs, right? But that applies in different scale on different types of business as well. So yeah. So we got a lot of work ahead of ourselves, but Sega is doing so much to make it possible, to make it as worthwhile as it could possibly be. And Virtua Fighter 6 has an amazing opportunity. And Sega, the way Sega's acting, they know it. They know that this is a huge opportunity, actually. It didn't feel like this was such they believed it was an opportunity years ago, but for a lot of people, I don't think many people believe this is like such an opportunity. It really is. And it's like, I can say that without being a little reserved about it now. It's like, no, this thing is swinging for the fences. The new VF, it's looking good. It's looking like a quality, serious product, but it also looks like it's going to have a quality, serious result. As long as people keep their eyes on the mission, and as long as cultivators keep cultivating, right, and can build something that outlasts just the harvesters. Right. So what some people might look down on the guys who come in just on something that's popular and only want to harvest it for its riches. But But there's people like me that believes in cultivating and keep building, and it might not be the fastest process, but we're gonna get there because the thing is good, it's worthwhile, but also because I know what my reward is for it. I just love the game. So I just love the game. I want the game to love me back as much, right? So yeah. Yeah, this is a real interesting time, and we're gonna see what happens. Fighting games are in a really interesting spot right now, and there's lots of opportunities, but there's a lot of risk. But it's crazy when I feel like the new VF is really doing things right enough to where I'm looking mostly at the rewards, and I do look at the risks, but I feel like not as worried about the risks, if I'm being honest. So yeah. Oh, so AlcoholicSpaceman says, thank you, Chanchai. Thank you, VF community. Really great job to all those who represented this community at EVO. What a really great weekend. Congrats to Akari Shiopon for the win. Thank you, AlcoholicSpaceman. Yeah, this is an amazing weekend for anybody who loves Virtua Fighter. Really amazing weekend. And for anyone who got to be there at EVO, you're at the best EVO by far for Virtua Fighter. I plan to go to next year's Evo, and I think it's going to be amazing, but I think the one that's going to really kill it for all VF is going to be 2027. But I think next year is going to be super amazing. I think the hype is going to be amazing. So the hype will be off the charts next year. But the mission fulfilled feeling will probably be 2027. That'll probably be when we're on top of the world already. We'll see. But yeah, no, for sure. 200 plus already is amazing. It is. It really, really is. But it's in North America, right? And yeah, if you guys want to know something, when I go to by the way, I'm gonna shoot one of my videos here because of while I'm talking, so we'll keep the volume a little low. But I'm gonna show you arcade in China. But while just having fun chatting with that, so we'll play this video from the beginning. By the way, this is Shanghai's arcade. This is the arcade that Shanghai goes to. This is in Shanghai. So if it's too loud, let me know. I don't want it to be too loud, but if it's too loud, let me know. But it's gonna be fun to watch, just how long I had to wait for this hidden arcade on the 7th and a half floor. So anywhere I go around the world, when I go, especially China, Hong Kong, talk to players from Korea, talk to players from Taiwan, and then Japan. For them, a lot of their VF experience is what happened during Virtua Fighter 4 Final Tuned. Because they had a thriving scene then, they had the most hardcore time, but they had these huge tournaments, and those scenes it was really magical for a lot. Now for Korea, it's probably most magical during VF2 and VF3, because that's when Shins or Akira Kid really was probably the best player in the world. Absolutely. And he might still be, but he was then probably the best player in the world, and he was in Korea, right? And so the Koreans had this insane pride for Virtua Fighter at the time, for Virtua Fighter 3. Of course, they would have that pride for Tekken and for King of Fighters as well, around the 90s and early 2000s. Yeah, hey Punker, awesome. Welcome home. I hope you had a good drive, but I also hope you get good rest, man. It was good to see your face on camera. Awesome run. Awesome performance. I'm really proud of you, Punker. So by the way, spoiler alert, I decide not to take this elevator. So watch how long it takes me to wait for the next elevator. Did you see how many people went in the elevator? How many people left in Shanghai? Yeah, watch. I do a jump cut. So I do a cut that says that it takes a few minutes later, because otherwise the video would be insanely long. But it takes me, I think it took about 8 minutes to wait for the next elevator. And then you're going to see how crowded it is being in the elevator. So yeah, this is in Shanghai. There's a lot of delivery drivers too, but a lot of people going in and out this building. You did awesome, Punker. And you and Cross and Juicebox and Solari, Phoenix, Arizona had amazing representation at EVO. Holy crap. You guys all did amazing work. Good job. Congratulations, Phoenix. So yeah, you guys can see what happened 8 minutes later here, right? Here we go. This is Shanghai, China. And so this is at Tiantianwan Arcade 24/7, right? This arcade, I call it Super Play all day. Because it's actually all day, every day, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This place is open. And do you guys feel crowded in this elevator yet? Yeah, I do take the stairs going down, by the way. Not in the video, but yeah. But you guys can see some good stuff though when I finally get to see this arcade for the first time. And I didn't know what I was gonna see, so I was a little scared. Yeah, all of Arizona made it out of pools. It was amazing. Amazing. Okay, so Kumabo is also from Arizona? Okay, holy cow, that's amazing. Kumabo is a really good Owie player. Really, really good. So Arizona Virtua Fighter is insanely doing awesome. Yeah, this was last year. This was in 2024 in March. Here. All right, you guys ready? Here we go. We are in Shanghai's arcade, Tiantianwan. So Super Arcade Game Center, Tiantianwan, 24, like all day, every day. See the King of Fighters 97? You know whose arcade this is. That was funny. Okay, so anyways, see the Dragon Ball stuff. See, we got Initial D cabinets. Of course, they got posters, advertising. This is the wall. Do you see this wall? Look at all these events that have happened at this arcade and the players it represents, including Shanghai. Stuff even from the 90s. Virtua Fighter was a big deal here too. Sorry if it makes you dizzy because I'm using portrait mode and I'm like going too fast. I try to slow it down for the sepia photos, but look at this. You can see Korea and Japan came to some of these events. This was one of the Super Arcadia Cups, a special version of Arcadia, of an Arcadia event. So yeah. This is some of their trophies, and then of course some merchandise as well. One more figures to show their otaku cred. The trophies. The certificate, King of Fighters 98 second day single battle 1-on-1. Okay, and you know what? This arcade's got pachinko machines. We're gonna see them pretty quick. Sorry to make you dizzy there. Here's a staff member. Don't worry, he's not giving me any crap. The staff is super nice. They have tripods for you if you want to live stream, because in China the live streaming is very popular. You see people stand on the sidewalks doing selfie streams. Yeah, so here this is more of the gambling center or the redemption center. We've got our gacha machines, we've got our capsules, and we got our claw machines. Here we've got rhythm games. Oh, that'd be amazing for River City Riot. Sorry if my video makes you dizzy again. I was overwhelmed because this is the first time I went in here. Really sorry. You guys can like blink out or soften your vision if it helps, because you just need to get the idea more than the actual image. Alright, now we're gonna go around the block here. But yeah, this arcade was just last year. I was so happy. I'm like, yes, we finally have like a 90s style arcade in the super center type of arcade. There is a smoking area for people that want to smoke, and it is outdoors. It's on the rooftop. That's why it's the 7.5 floor, is because it's partially rooftop next to the rest of the building that's huge. It's freaking tall. I didn't take a video of that area though, but it's pretty cool. Yeah. Maybe nowadays that's gonna have Uma Musume arcade game. Just kidding. Yeah, it's a huge arcade. And we're gonna get to the good stuff soon. But right here, you can see all the pachinko addicts here. This is where all the pachinko addiction is all over here. So all the pachinko addiction is alive in Shanghai, you know. So, and you can see it's actually busy. And this was like at 1 p.m. You know. So this is the smoking area, by the way, right there. All right, now here we go. Let's get to the better stuff. We're still in pachinko land. Still in pachinko land. Sorry. Sorry for that spin out. I guess I do go out a little. Yeah. Maybe I got scared off by the people walking in. All right, here we go. We got racing battle games. These aren't just racing games. These are racing battle games. We got our Third Strike, got our King of Fighters, Super Turbo. Right? Pick your game. We got good stuff. And we don't have Tekken 7 or Tekken 8. We have like Tekken, I think it was either Tekken, you'll see which Tekken it is. Got Initial D. And here we go, Final Showdown. And we got 4 screens for Final Showdown. More than any other fighting game. We got the most screens for Final Showdown. Now, it does have the VF5R marquee, but it is Final Showdown. And that is what we end up playing on a lot throughout the whole weekend. And of course, the laundry machines. Actually, this is a rhythm game that is insanely popular. Really, really popular everywhere I went. But yeah, looks like laundry machines. We got our DDR. We look back and we see those fighters again, and the laundry machines. And then we're kind of back to where we're kind of back near the entrance. Sorry for the dizziness, but that's the arcade. Hope you guys like that tour. Hope you like this tour. But yeah. We got our vending machines in the arcade, of course, just like a lot of Asian arcades have it right there, so you can just get a drink. Prices are good. Though in China it's a lot of tea. Japan has a decent variety, only like 2 sodas, but a ton of tea and some alcohol and a lot of waters. Yeah, so this arcade, I took my daughter here on one of the nights, and she just had the best time here. And here's something I will tell you, because the prizes from the claw machines are so like cheap in China, I guess they make it so it's super easy to win prizes on those machines. Like, and the staff will kind of help you. If a kid has trouble, the staff will tell them how to win it. You know, and so it's really funny. So my daughter ended up winning like 13 prizes, you know, like winning 13 dolls. And so,
such an amazing arcade. It's just the paradise. I'm really excited.
But yeah,
about it,
this arcade was so much fun to be in. I had a real blast at this arcade. And we got our Gundam Versus, and of course, we got our VF, and I love my VF. And there's our Tekken. So you guys know which game that is? Is this your Tekken game? So there we go. I hope you guys enjoyed that show. It's still a fond memory for me. Most of the times when I tell people I went to China, they want to hear about all the bad stuff, but I just want to tell you, like, I had just the real best time, and it was just such a blast, you know. So I just had such a wonderful time there.
Yeah, it's Chanchai, and
yeah, I think it was 6BR, so 6BR is kind of the Tekken of choice there. Yeah. So yeah, this was really, really good stuff. I hope you guys had a good time on this stream. I am gonna go ahead and raid. I'm gonna take care of my kids, and then I might stream more later. But I actually have a few projects I got to work on. But it's just, you know, it's been a wonderful time, and really appreciate everyone. This community's just been, I think everyone's just been having wonderful vibes, and Evo has just been so awesome, right? So let's see if we got it's on there. That said, I don't want to violate Evo's restream there's no way that they're still playing Evo right now, but it feels like I'll wait a day. But that said, this is awesome. Okay, so this is a fun one too. This was this year at Evo Japan. You guys like the Quanva 2009 setups they used and the Giga Crystal monitors they used at Evo Japan? You know, because Revo is only on PC until October 30th, Evo Japan was using PCs there. This is the vibe at Evo Japan for Beat Tribe Cove, which is awesome. Yeah, so that does normally happen on the Quanva Pearl and the Quanva Obsidian one on Revo sometimes. Dark Nova had that problem at Fight Kingdom as well. And so this is one of the tricky things with PC. But yeah, sometimes there's a bunch of things that go into that and to help. So sometimes even if your controller is compatible with PC, it's good to use a Wingman adapter just to bypass this problem, but it does suck, you know. But yeah, it's one of the problems also is basically PS4 controllers on PC as well. Oh, we got STL Tim here versus Namflo. That's cool. Saw that. This is pretty fun, but yeah. Okay, this was pretty cool at the VF party. This is in Evo Japan though. Yeah, don't worry, people are patient and understanding in general, and yeah, but I'm glad you were patient and understanding too. It's a very frustrating thing to deal with, and I get it. It can be like that at events. It really can be. So you kind of learn to let it not bother you so much so that you can focus on your match, and but it's tough and it's stressful. There's HAWKFIELD right there. And Punker can relate because he plays both these characters. No, it plays mostly John. It's not John versus Wolf, it is John versus Taka. Good stuff. Good stuff.
When it's your heart.
Then we got to add. But yeah, again, thank you everyone for this. It's good to have you all here. If there's anything else you want to mention, though, let me know while I figure out who we're gonna raid. But we're gonna watch a little bit here. So actually, this one we should watch the whole thing because this is Master Genesis Gaming. This is group. I don't know if there's auto subtitles, but I'll check. I understand that feeling, Punker. Well, I know that coming from Evo, you're gonna feel like it's gonna be a little harder to play online, but I still love it, and I have a blast personally. I hope you can adapt to it, because I love fighting you, man. I really love fighting you, and I want to fight more of you. Yeah. Oh, Juandi, good to see you. Tell your brother I said hi as well. I hope you guys are doing really awesome. Yes, the Black Orchid Militia will return in Battlefield 6 because Battlefield 6 is a real continuation of Battlefield 3 and 4. So you know we're back. I'm going to be playing Battlefield 6 for sure. That said, if work gets in the way, that would be different. That might change the story. So we'll see what my work situation is at that time. But I do intend to play Battlefield 6 also, as well as Virtua Fighter. And also, my brother-in-law is also planning to play, so he's returning as well. So you got both of us coming back to Battlefield. Yeah, no, I freaking love I love Battlefield 3 and 4. And I love Bad Company 2 as well. So I love Battlefield, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 3, and Battlefield 4. So Battlefield 6 really making me happy because they're just like, you know what? Look, I want VF6 to be a whole new VF for a new generation. But when it comes to Battlefield, I just want it to return back to Battlefield 3 and 4. And so Battlefield 6 is doing that. So I'm like, yeah, bring it back to Battlefield 3 and 4. It's what I want, please. You know, so yeah. So Firebird, just make those flaws. I don't see them as flaws, but I do see it as growth, right? And if you noticing your growth is you growing, like you noticing what you need to do better, that's growing. So I like to take a growth mindset about it, and instead of thinking about I have to be perfect and these things are stopping me from being perfect, I just think I want to be better. And every opportunity to be better is a nice thing because it's good to have a goal. And I'm going to keep working towards it, even if it goes through a tournament. Yes, I want to perform as best as I can in a tournament, but I really want to get better at tournament fighting, and I want to get better at so many things, so I'm just going to keep getting better. And that, for me, I think gives me a lot of peace with the process. I do get frustrated, but I think that's also why I don't get tired of it, or I mean, I get tired too, but I don't hate it. I have friends who end up hating the process, and sometimes they hate the process because they thought that they needed to be perfect. And I've won a lot of tournaments being way far from perfect. And so I just kind of keep each goal in mind as a step, and it's always just a step forward. And if I didn't win it this time, I'll try to get myself to be in a position to win it next time. So that's how I look at it. You can look at it how you want, but that's how I look at it. And I think that's why it's a little easier for me to kind of do that. So yeah.
When we bundle our home and
Bad Company 2 is crazy good. Yeah, it's so good. Okay. Dang it. Ads, no. Okay, here we go. Yeah, the open beta is going to be amazing. I don't know if my machine can handle Battlefield 6. I'll test it, I'll try it, but I'm excited for Battlefield 6. I'll try to get on that beta. But I do need to focus on VF if I'm playing anything, so we'll see. Well, that's how it goes, though, Punker. Yeah, but you hang in there and you just make it better. You get better as a tournament player. So yeah, I thought you had a very good showing. Yeah. Yep. Keep up the training, keep the dojo, and but also be good to yourself. You know, be kind to yourself. Give yourself room to fill in. You know, to fill in the gaps. Room to keep growing. So of course, this was the other best place to be a Virtua Fighter fan in the world, and it was at Evo Japan because they had combined Evo Japan with Beat Tribe Cup. And so this is super amazing event, of course. But I also think this weekend at Evo was definitely like the best time because of so many other things as well. I just think they've both been super amazing. We probably should do the videos from LD Wells, actually. I should do that before I go. Because LD Wells posted a lot of good videos from this weekend. Alright. It is funny, the dropping the camera down to the side before closing out. Before the cut. I do love the red carpet entrances for the finals of Beat Tribe Cup. It's so awesome. This chameleon is so good. Here's the team. Yeah, this is the team that won too. Yeah. No, it's not the other team. But Rio Rao, who we just saw at Evo. Awesome battle between Rio Rao and Renzo Yellowtail. I'm really proud of Renzo. He played amazing against Rio Rao. Here we go. This is our guy Chimpanzee. You can tell. No, this is someone else. But this is so awesome. This is the hype energy, though. God, so good. Snovia for 2 weeks. All right, but have good travel. Travel safe. Travel safe, Subterra. I'm wishing you well. You know, your whole scene's doing awesome. Yeah, I see. I'm still watching videos. I'm just in that mood right now, you know? Wanted to share the love in a different way, I guess. But yeah. But I hope you guys don't mind spending this time with me. Alright, Chicago. Oh, yeah. It's a busy airport, though. There's our champion. There's our Evo champion, Shiwapon. There's Zone-chan. Zone-chan, arguably the best late fate player in the world. Always got that rockstar energy. And then Wasakon, the best Lao player in the world as far as I can, in my opinion. And Just awesome. Also a commentator usually. And Toma Leon. Yeah, Toma is really cool. I'm glad that you get paid for that at least. That's good. Alright, then there's this chimpanzee. This is our combo breaker champion who's the first one to qualify for the Virtua Fighter Open Championships. Known as like the most aggressive Jackie in the world.
We've maximized space for up to 35.
Ads are not gonna ruin his day. Homestay Akira as well. You see Homestay Akira on top middle. Congratulations on a great performance at EVO. Let's see here. And Kubanashi Rider always has fun doing this thing. He's always doing like, yeah, he's doing with the long hair in the back there. Kubanashi Rider, also an amazing late fate player. Really friendly, fun guy. And I think I had heard that he's actually has acted in some dramas before too. Okay, so this one is funny because this is the Legends team, and Shibita's on this team, but Shibita is late, and Shibita missed their first battle too. Like he got there right before, like right after the roll call, so he was not allowed to play because they had already made a decision about fighting a 4 versus 5. So Shibita is not here during this walkthrough, but there is Kyasao, you know, and we also have. So yeah, this is like the Legends team. We got Shu as well. But yeah, it's an awesome team. A team of a lot of legends. But Chibita, everyone's like, where's Chibita? He's not there. It's fashionably late. Yeah, there's a photo before. But yeah, not there. So they did a quick photo though. Alright. Yeah, that's the red carpet. I do love the red carpet at Beat Tribe Club. It's so cool. And that's that. All right, let's go ahead and raid. But thank you all very much for your support. And let's all play more VF. I didn't play it today, but let's play more VF. Let's see who we're gonna raid though today. There are trailers and announcements at EVO right now. Street Fighter 6 going on. Okay. I think I'm going to send you all to a watch party. So, hey, let's go to this watch party. Say hi to Virtua Kazama for me, all right? Thank you all so very much. I had a good time hanging out with you all. And I just love telling stories. So it's a Shanghais story time episode. But thank you all very much for being here with me. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. And hopefully some great stuff happens to all of us very soon. Thank you so much. You seem to find a good time to hit this raid, but I really like what I'm seeing here. More Beat Tribe Cup highlights. You should follow this channel. This is Kenshiro TV. It's a good channel. Both him and his wife play VF, and they're awesome. They're really nice. Really, really nice person as well. Alright, and this is just outside of Big Site. Alright, here we go. Here's the raid. Everyone say hi to Virtua Kazama for me. Thank you all so much. Cheers.
国内最大級の格闘ゲーム大会として2025年で6回目を迎えたエボジャパン。5月9日から11日までの3日間開催され、ストリートファイター6や鉄拳8など7つのメインタイトルのほか、サイドでもさまざまなゲーム大会が開かれ、エントリー数は延べ9875人と過去最高を記録。会場の一角にはセガのブースも設けられ、バーチャファイター
Thank you all so much for those